All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to another client interview. We got Mr. Daniel Olson on with us today. Daniel's crushed it since he's been in the program, and we're going to ask him some questions here to just get a little scoop inside his experience and progress so far in the program. So, Daniel, thanks for your time today, man.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here.
So, first and foremost, just a little intro into yourself. Like, what do you got going on in life? What are your, professional or hobbies? What do you do for fun?
Yep. So definitely have a pretty demanding career. I'm a partner at a professional services firm. Outside of the work stuff, which certainly keeps me busy, I like to stay active. When you and I had engaged to go through this like coaching um, relationship, I think for me it was kind of figuring out like how to juggle stuff that I really like, which is more the CrossFit side of training from what I've historically done. Because I wanted to build up a bit more of like that I'd say more bodybuilding slash growth and just general musculature perspective. So outside of the workout side of things and work, love being outside. Got two dogs, so love being out in the open. Recently got married, so husband and I really like watching sports and hanging out with friends and family.
Nice. Very diverse. Love it.
A lot going on.
Yeah. So you're obviously like super into fitness well before, again, like we engaged in this process. I'm curious, man, what was your exact kind of perspective behind bringing on a coach? Because, a lot of people coming into the program, they definitely need one and they have no idea like what to do in the gym. They walk in there, they're not even sure what they're looking at. You already kind of had a relatively substantial foundation in education around fitness and health. And so what was your kind of mindset around that?
Yeah. I had never actively counted calories or worked through anything from the nutrition side in conjunction with basically being told what to do in the gym. Right. And I was, prior to my life in CrossFit, I was that stereotypical bro who forgot about like, hey, so, I certainly I knew my way around the gym certainly before working with you. However, I also am one of those people who, even if I would walk into a gym, I would kind of like mindlessly walk around and just kind of do something that I thought would be good, just kind of hit it, not really track my results, not really think about, what my progress kind of looked like or, what I was necessarily targeting. So I would definitely say it was an educated blindness if I was doing stuff on my own without explicitly being told what to do. And so I think, part of my goals for when you and I were starting to work together was more to build a bit more mass, and, kind of figure out like, what does that whole nutrition side of things look like, while juggling a busy career, being social too. I didn't want to necessarily feel like I was being restricted. And then also, as I travel a lot. Both for work and for fun. So that to me was the important side of like figuring all that out because, I more or less use CrossFit as like definitely like a foundation for like just overall fitness. And then also community side of things too. My 5 a.m. crew were very tight. So I wanted that incremental kind of added benefit of not just the like looks side of things, but also just general musculature and overall health.
Got it. Yeah, makes total sense, man. And since joining the program, what would you say your kind of main wins are or progress that you've seen that you're the most pumped about?
Yeah, I mean, I think, we've definitely stayed true to that process of more or less the lean bulk. So, not really focus on getting shredded per se, but more on like building that mass. And, I knew like me getting into it, it would take a bit of time because, like as you mentioned, I had definitely had a bit of a foundation already. So there was a bit of body recomposition and then also some just kind of working through some of the that unfamiliarity of juggling both that more high intensity interval type training along with more of a traditional type of bodybuilding. So I'd say the overarching gains have been just from an educational perspective, just how much knowledge I have now and like being able to eyeball things and kind of approximate what things would be from a nutritional perspective. And then having that just general awareness in conjunction with, I would say, just general mass. I don't, the only thing that I wish I'd done a DEXA scan prior to engaging with you to figure out like what my true like muscle gain has been. But that picture you showed of like just before we started on this journey and in the programming phases, in conjunction with where we're at now, I mean, it's definitely there. So
Yeah, 100%, man. And like you mentioned, you have a lot going on. You already have CrossFit going on. You have a very demanding career. You have a very demanding travel schedule. I know that you already had the discipline and the routine muscle built to a large extent to get to where you are, physically
yep.
and also in your career. But what advice would you give to somebody who has a very demanding career or a lot of obligations and also wants to balance health and fitness? How would you advise that person to kind of go about that, or some tips you would give?
Yeah, I think maybe especially if someone's not really, as familiar or as experienced, I'd say just take it in chunks, right? Like, that there's a lot of those, like that concept of like newbie gains kind of thing. And like that to me, like, especially if you're starting out, like that's a lot of fun. Like you get to see a lot more progress at the forefront. I would say, that's one thing of just, be reasonable with like blocking your calendar off. Like that for me is a huge thing of just putting that time slot on my calendar so people know not to touch it. I'm one of those people who needs to work out super early in the morning. Know what works for you, and don't like get to this pattern or thought process of it's everything or nothing. It's not so binary like that, where it's you're either crushing it in the gym or you're a total like failure, right? Like that's just not fair, and that's not realistic. So I think taking everything in stride and like just thinking more about that mindset of like, if there's someone in particular you want to look like or that you want to emulate, like what would that person do in that moment? And like just being patient with yourself, and also understanding that, not every day is going to be you wanting to do it, and you're not going to be always motivated. And some days those are actually some of your best workouts because, it sucks being there when you don't want to be there, but fighting through that and just that consistency, I think is more the key in the long run, in general. And that's just my general mantra in life is just that consistency piece, but taking it small pieces, being consistent and trusting the process.
Beautiful. Well said, man. That's awesome. So you just joined the level 2 program, signed up for another year. Two questions here, man. Why did you sign on for another year of support, and what are your next level goals for yourself over the next 12 months?
Yeah, I think I really like the accountability function. I really like working with you. I think especially, just because you definitely take time to listen through our weekly check-ins, as well as, just getting a sense of what we're doing in the CrossFit gym, and programming around that. So I guess more or less for anybody else who's watching this, Zach and his team does a really good job of like figuring out what works for your schedule, what you're already doing or not doing, and kind of helping guide as much or as little as you need. For me, for the next 12 months, I'd say it's more that refinement, I'd say. And we've started a little bit on that heavier lean bulk again, this next cycle, especially as we head into the holiday period. But, I think just with everything I learned in this last period, I think it's more that thought process around, why riding the wave of the ebbs and flows on the cut process as well, of like, easing into that, and then, being able to just kind of see how far we can take it from just a general physique and aesthetic perspective as well, while still retaining, what is functional fitness. I'm not trying to compete by any stretch, right? So it's more just like seeing what I can do and what I can build in the gym, and just challenging myself to be better than yesterday.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Yeah, with the muscle you're building, it's definitely going to be a spicy physique that you're going to reveal next summer, man. I'm definitely.
I look forward to it.
Last question for you, man. Why is this all important to you? Like, why go through the effort and the sacrifice of really trying to push your potential and see what you can do? Why is this something that you must do in your lifetime?
Yeah. I've listened to a lot of like podcasts and a lot of performance type, narratives, and I've read a lot of performance books. It's an interest of mine. I try to do everything under the mantra of stress plus rest equals growth. And I like putting myself out of what is a normal comfort zone and trying to like think about what are ways that I can push the needle and move the needle. For me, I'd say it's not really more or less the effort in the gym that has been a struggle from a historical perspective. It's that, again, that education on the nutritional side of things. And so I think for me, I think that for me will be kind of why, and my why for this current year. Last year, I think it was more of like just figuring out how this all works in the grander scheme of things, of like, what percentage really relates to nutrition versus the gym. And I think you start to realize very quickly that like the gym is certainly important. Building and working hard in the gym is very important, but what you're putting into your body is equally important, if not way more. That's your whole energy and your vitality, basically. So for me, I think to answer the question more succinctly, I think that has been something that I've always tried to push a little bit more on. So last year was more figuring out how this all works. This year, it's more on the nutritional side of things in conjunction with the training, and letting that kind of dictate where and what we do on a monthly basis.
Got it, man. Amazing. Love that. Stress plus rest equals growth. Never heard that before, but I love it. That's awesome, man. Cool. Daniel, thank you for sharing your experience and some solid nuggets there, man. For those of you guys watching, if you guys relate with Daniel's story or just want some assistance with your health and self-development journey, or want to see if we're a good fit, feel free to click the link around this video to book a call with me, and we'll see if it's a good fit. But besides that, see you guys in the next video. Daniel, thanks again for your time, man.
Of course.